Hey Blerdies, hey fam. It's me, my child care inspire, back for week 2 of Camp Butterfly. And this week we did the Splash Squad. So I'm welcoming you guys back to Camp Butterfly, where we're helping grown-ups raise little learners when adventure has time. So, when you're preparing for adulthood, you're raising your first little one, thinking about working in childcare or already caring for children from the ages 0 to 5. I'm so glad that you're here with me. Like, you guys are my audience, and you guys just, help me to really want to share about my experiences as well as finding, new experience that maybe I haven't tried myself to be able to help inspire you guys to be all you can be for our littles out there. So last week we had became the nature explorers and had discovered how nature could be a child's first classroom. You don't even have to go out to a fancy national park. You just get on outdoors and you can learn so much just from your own backyard, front yard, playground, wherever. So this week we're diving into the next adventure. Well, this past week. So because Sunday is the first day of the week. So this past week, our adventure was as the Splash Squad. When most people hear water play, they think keeping children entertained on a hot day. You have your little pool, or you have your sprinklers, or just a simple water hose, or what. Or if you're living in a city, I know all of y'all grew up with the fire hydrant. You broke out the fire hydrant, water blast out, and that was your sprinkler. But today, I want to show you that every splash, every scoop, and every little bubble is actually an opportunity for learning. So water play, it looks simple, but is so much is happening, behind the scenes. When a baby is splashing their hands in the water, they're learning about cause and effect. Children, they are already learning off the bat as soon as they're born. They're learning new things. They're taking in new experiences. So you don't knock a baby for, not being able to pick up things that you already know how to do when you're 20, 30, 40 years old. They are learning. They probably at the peak of their development as soon as they're born. So when a toddler pours water into one cup into another, they're strengthening their fine motor skills and their hand-eye coordination. Another stage of learning. They're still continuing that theme of development. And when a preschooler predicts whether something will sink or float, they're thinking like a scientist. So this expands more on that development of them engaging in critical thinking. And so children, they begin to ask questions. Why did that float? Why did this sink? Why is the sponge is heavier now filled with water? So those are questions that's the beginning of, like I said, critical thinking. And the best part is that you don't need a fancy water table to make it happen. I know that childcare, centers, they have those tables that you can fill it up with water or with sand to practice, but you don't even need that. Sometimes you could just use your little like foot scrub tub, or you can use like a clean bucket, make sure everything's cleaned out before you use it, of course. But it could be as simple as a bucket, like a clean sponge, and kids would be learning and having fun. And the best part is that they're having fun, and they don't realize that they're learning as they're having fun. So let's keep it simple. So for babies, you can use a shallow pan with a small amount of water while closely supervising them, and let them splash. You can feel the temperature, like lukewarm water or cold water, and explore different textures like washcloths, or even using floating bath toys. For toddlers, you could give them measuring cups, spoons, funnels, or even little small containers, and they'll naturally begin to start pouring and filling and dripping and comparing. So this was something that I learned when I started working in a childcare center, that, you know, just having kids just pouring out water, even if they sometimes pour on the table or on the floor, they're still practicing their fine motor skills, and they are still learning. Just watching them, just really enjoying the water being moved around, or playing with toys within the water, they're still learning, and they don't even realize that they're learning new skills as they're doing this. And for preschoolers, you could create little science experiments. Ask your questions. What do you think will happen if, which object will float? Can you fill this cup without spilling it? These are activities that builds confidence, vocabulary, and problem solving skills while feeling like pure fun. So it's that whole thing of having fun and them enjoying and learning without them realizing that they're really learning something. Like, it's just simple as that. Now let's move into those summer safety. So, it's hot, it's summery. We're talking about water play, and that can be incorporated in that. But we have to remember while we're enjoying fun, having outside, and this is something that could apply for any activity when you're outside, not just when you're, having fun with water. Is that safety is before anything else. So let's talk about something that's really as important as fun is like I said, safety. Whether children are around water, whenever children are around water, it's always important to be an active supervising adult. And like I said, whether around water or any activity they do, it's always good to have an active supervising. Don't just sit there, not paying attention, reading a book, being on your phones. It really helps to make sure that you're seeing and you're hearing whenever you're around your child or around like any other group of children. You know, like even shallow water can be dangerous, so stay within arm's reach of infants and toddlers and avoid all distractions. Summer heat is another thing to watch out for because the weather's where I live, the weather's either up or down. But there's some areas like currently the UK, an area that I just found out that they don't even use air conditioning, that they would be hitting all-time high heat. So offer water often. Take breaks within the shade. Make sure kids are dressed in lightweight clothing as well as light colored clothing. You know, dark colors attract heat a lot more, whereas light colors they reflect heat. They reflect the heat. So make sure to dress them up in light colors, like my awesome Fraggle Rock t-shirt I'm wearing. And use sunscreen according to age recommendation. The child care centers, they make it required that children have sunscreen. So, if you are a parent that provides sunscreen to your child, make sure they use it every time they're going outside. It doesn't matter if it's in the morning, if it's not as sunny, you still need to apply it on because it's hot weather out there. You don't want to take that lightly. And also use your pediatrician's guidance as well. They probably would recommend something a little bit more special for your child. So make sure you find what they would recommend for you instead of just picking whatever one off the counter off the bat, because it makes it even more effective when you know exactly what your child or whatever that child needs. The goal is simple: just creating joyful memories while also keeping little learners safe. So let's talk a little bit about beginning learning with story time, because this past week I had recommended books for our little learners. So one of my favorite ways of expanding learning is by pairing an activity with a book. So this week I recommended 3 wonderful stories. So for our infants, it's Splish Splash Baby, which is a sweet choice for for those little ones that introduces them through water and using playful language as well as very colorful illustrations. There's also Maisie Learns to Swim, which is for our toddlers, and as well as preschoolers, they will enjoy it. Maisie is such a cute series, both in books and in television shows. But I talked about the book about her learning how to swim. And this is for kids who might be introducing them to maybe wanting to be uh, more in the water, more, want to go to the pool, but probably still nervous about learning how to swim. So it's just to remind them that learning something new, it takes courage, encouragement, and also practice. So it makes it even help them be a little bit more at ease and having fun while also being safe. And then, of course, there's A House for Hermit Crab, which is a Eric Carroll's book. Very, he's known for very beautiful, simple stories that have very unique illustrations, and invites preschoolers to explore ocean life while learning about growth, change, and finding where you belong. So after reading, or even before reading the books, you can head outside and enjoy the water, enjoy safe water play, whether it's just like your small community pool or, just hanging out with the sprinklers. So it's just a little thing to just go in there in case you want to, add more to that water play fun. And now I just want to talk to my future parents, current, parents, as well as, caregivers who are beginning their child care journey. So I want you guys to remember this. Children don't need exorbitant experiences to learn. They need adults who are willing to slow down, explore with them, ask questions and celebrate their discoveries. That's one of the biggest things about learning is when they learn something and they're willing to share it with someone that they care about. And some of the most meaningful moments happen with a bucket of water, a sponge, and just a few minutes of undivided attention. So that's one of the coolest things about water play is them having fun but learning as well, and you taking that time to learn along with them. You probably learn something new just as much as they're learning something new as well. So thank you so much for spending part of your day with me here at Camp Butterfly. So, this week I want to challenge you guys along with, all the activities for this upcoming week. You'll probably know more about that in my little video, little side video over my social media. Follow me on all of my links. It's located within the description or within my bio, depending where you're seeing this. So their challenge is just to try one simple water activity with a little learner. It doesn't have to be a perfect one because you're adults over very young children, so they don't expect us to be perfect, so we shouldn't expect ourselves to be perfect. Just make sure that it's safe and it's playful and it's full of curiosity. We love and also I'd love to hear how it goes. So leave a comment below in any of my social medias, including this video, and tell me what your little learner had discovered. You can tell me what you discovered as well. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on the as well as Faith Butterfly blog and all my social media platforms for more childcare tips, activities, books, or other, child-friendly media recommendations, and as well as encouragement. You can find all of my links within the description below, or like I said, within the link tree in bio, wherever. So this upcoming week, we at Camp Butterfly I am so excited. We're going to become the creative critters, where we're going to explore art, the imagination, music, and creative expression for our little ones, our 0 to 5. So until next time, remember, stay blessed and blerdful, fear less, care more, and have the loveliest of lovely days. See you this upcoming week. Yay! Enjoy your summer. Hope you're having a good summer.